Off the Record is a perplexing entry in the quickly expanding library of Dead Rising games. On the surface, it appears as though it's just Dead Rising 2 with protagonist Chuck Green replaced by the hero of the original game, Frank West. Surely, you might think, there must be more to this $40 package than a character swap. But as you tromp through the same environments, rescuing the same helpless survivors while cutting down the same menacing psychos, you begin to realize that almost nothing has changed. And though the zombie-killing hijinks are as over-the-top and inventive as you would expect, the inherent joy of exploring new areas and discovering bizarre secrets has mostly faded. For those unfamiliar with the series, Off the Record is as good a place to start as any. But for anyone who sunk hours into last year's release, the sense of deja vu saps away much of the irreverent fun.
I fought hard to uncover the truth of what happened at that mall.
Ever since exposing the dark secrets surrounding the first Dead Rising, Frank West has been enjoying the good life only a high-profile journalist is privy to. But any reporter worth his salt knows the truth is more important than fame and fortune. So the pudgy vigilante descends on Fortune City to find out who's responsible for the zombie outbreaks once and for all. Even though Frank replaces Chuck Green, the story is virtually identical to Dead Rising 2, with only a couple twists thrown in to keep you on your toes. It's strange going through the same events, listening to mostly the same dialogue and the same cutscenes as before, which makes it difficult to care about what's going on.
Man, I got all the luck.
And that's a theme that carries through for the entire game. Aside from one new amusement park themed zone, the environments in Off the Record are identical to Dead Rising 2, right down to the weapon placement and healing items. Even the survivors are mostly the same, appearing at similar times in more or less the same place. Reuniting a separated husband and wife is still rewarding because you gain precious experience points. But where you might have been patient for their touching meeting to play out in Dead Rising 2, now you just want them to hurry up with the hugging so you can get on with your quest. Finicky Action has been a staple in the series since the beginning, but it was possible to look past the problems while you're exploring exciting new locales. But there's no such luxury in Off the Record, so all of those issues are more noticeable. You may curse with rage when you can't pick up a specific item you desperately need, or lament the knockback attacks while squaring off against psychos. And these problems are frequent enough that they detract from your goofy escapades. Dead Rising's strength has never been its gameplay, but it's been able to circumvent that problem with engaging design and other facets. Without the sheen of new environments and toys, it's harder to overlook these problems. Despite the myriad small quirks, this is still a really fun game. There's a feeling of immediacy in Dead Rising that doesn't exist in other open-world games, and the clock-ticking tension returns in Off the Record. When you complete a case at the last possible second, or rescue a troop of survivors in one go, you feel like a hero even if you've done the same basic thing in previous game. There's no denying the empowerment of growing from a meek Franken beginning to a stronger and faster version as the game progresses. The core of Off the Record is as great as ever, it's just the novelty that's worn off. There is one entirely new feature. Sandbox mode strips away the time limit and objectives completely. Now you're in the city without much direction and can do whatever you please. Challenges give you temporary goals, such as reaching a specific point in the casino or killing a lot of zombies, but this is largely an unstructured experience. Slaying zombies without any fear of time is certainly enjoyable for a while, but it doesn't take long for the shallowness of your actions to shine through. The appeal of Dead Rising lies in its tight structure. Once that's removed, you're left with an experience that becomes boring pretty quickly. Both the story and sandbox modes can be played cooperatively, and it is more fun busting heads with a friend, but that's still not enough of a draw. Even the inclusion of photography doesn't help matters. Snapping an erotic shot is certainly humorous, but it's not a tool you need to use often. Off the Record doesn't provide enough new content for fans of the series to take notice, and doesn't change the formula enough for people who previously ignored the series to care. This is ultimately a good game with no real audience.
Ladies' man.